Hi, my name's Ian Clifford from Make It in Music. In this video, we're going to show you how you can build your band website using WordPress for less than $20 and in less than 5 minutes. This video is going to run for slightly longer than that because I'm going to show you the steps quite slowly so that you can follow along. But when you come to do it, it will literally take around 5 minutes. Before we go into the steps you have to take, I'm just going to explain why we suggest that musicians, bands and artists should all use WordPress to build their website. And that's fundamentally because it's used by hundreds of millions of people and is the most supported website building system on the whole planet. It's reasonably easy to use and you can make it do pretty much whatever you want. It's used by Fortune 500 companies, massive stars of both music and film, and it has an enormous global support network. Pretty much every website developer that you ever come across will be able to give you a hand should you get stuck, and you'll find forums and blog posts with endless amounts of help. On top of that, it's totally customizable and you can make it do whatever you want. And as I said, it's easy enough that if you can master using your music production software, you're going to be fine building your website using WordPress. So it's the best solution if you're going to take building your website seriously, if you want to create something that's completely bespoke and professional. Now, before we get started, this is what you need to have to hand. You're going to need a credit card or a PayPal account so that you can pay for your domain name and hosting. And you're going to need 20 to 30 minutes to watch this video and then follow along and do the steps yourself, at the end of which you will have your band website up and running live. The steps begin with buying a domain name from Namecheap. This costs around $11 a year, but sometimes they have offers as low as $9, so in English money that's £7 or £8. The next step is to buy your hosting from HostGator, and this will cost around $9 a month if you use the discount code which we offer. You'll find that discount code in the blog post that accompanies this video, and if you're currently on that post at the moment watching the video, you'll find the code just below. That means that in English money, it's going to cost you something like £7 or £8 a month, but it's worth bearing in mind that if you use the discount code, it applies to the amount of time you buy the hosting for, only on the initial purchase. That means if you can afford to buy a year or 2 years of hosting, you'll get the discount across the whole thing. But if you choose to pay monthly, you're only going to get the discount on the first month. So obviously that's up to you and what you can afford at the time. Once you've bought the domain and hosting, the third step is to connect your domain name and hosting together. Then you can install WordPress, which is going to cost you nothing because we're going to have shown you how to do it and you're going to be doing it yourself. And then finally, once you've done that, your website will be live. And your total cost will have been around $20 and hopefully even a little less. So as we've just said, the first step is to go and purchase a domain name. You may already have a domain and yet haven't built a website, or you might be in the position of this being the first time you've bought a domain name for your band. There's some more information on our website about what we recommend you should do, but essentially you should be looking to buy something along the lines of yourband.com. For the purposes of this video, we're going to buy the domain yourgreatband.com. And we're going to go from there. We'll show you the process of buying a domain from one company and your hosting from another company. The reason for that is that in case there's ever a problem with either of those companies, you'd be able to copy your site and quickly redirect it to a different hosting without having the problem of having both your domain and hosting with one company. By showing you this method, we're also able to show you how to go through this process if you've already bought a domain elsewhere but haven't yet built your site or bought your hosting. In a couple of places in the video, we'll have to point out to you that you'll be following a very slightly different process if you buy your domain and hosting, both from the same company, whether that's Namecheap or HostGator, or if you already have a domain name in place. However, to get the best results from watching this video, we'd recommend you buy your domain name from Namecheap and your hosting from HostGator, as that's exactly the process we're going to show you, and it'll be easier to follow along. So to start off with, we're going to buy a domain name from Fresh, from Namecheap, and to do that, I'm just going to flip over to the blog post on our website so we can go from there. So now I've just flicked over to our website and I'm on the post about how to build your band website, and this is probably where you're watching the video right now. You'll see that just underneath the video, there are two buttons, one of which will take you to buy your domain from Namecheap, and the other one will take you to buy your hosting from HostGator. So the first thing we're going to go and do is buy our domain from Namecheap. So we'll just click on that. And then we simply put in the domain name that we're after in the search box, and we're after Your great band. And as I said, we're after .com. Just click search, and Namecheap's going to come back with the options that it's got for us. And luckily for us, yourgreatband.com is available, because we can see that down here. Now, you might find that your artist name with the .com extension isn't available, and in those circumstances, you want to try and buy something like yourbandmusic.com or thisisYourBand.com, or maybe even yourbandhq.com or yourbandofficial.com, something like that. But as I think I've already said, what we'd like to see is bands using the .com extension wherever possible. So I've got the one I want, and I'm going to click Add to Cart, and then we're going to follow the process from there. Okay, so I'm just going to click View Cart, and all I'm going to do is check out, but I'm just going to show you some of the options here. So obviously you can buy it for a year. You might drop that down and you might choose to buy it for a number of years. But I'm just going to buy it for the 1 year because we're just showing you the demonstration. But I am going to switch on auto renew. And that means that with my credit card details on file, Namecheap will renew this every year. And that's obviously a great idea, because that means that you're not going to forget to renew your domain name and lose your artist website. And then the next thing down here is WhoisGuard. Now, WhoisGuard is a piece of software that Namecheap run on your website and your domain once you've built it, and it simply protects the information that you use to register who owns the domain. Now, that might mean for you that you've used your own details or perhaps your management details, and you don't really want fans necessarily turning up at your house or knowing where you live or bothering your management office. So generally we suggest switching that on, and you'll see that that is enabled. It's free in the first year, but then I think in later years it's a couple of pounds, as they say here. But in the first year you're not even going to pay for it, so that's well worth having. The rest of the stuff down here, you could buy your hosting from Namecheap, but we're not going to suggest you do that because we're going to go to HostGator. And these are just a bunch of other things that you may or may not want with your domain name, but we're going to get all of that from our hosting, so we don't need any of it. So I'm just going to scroll that back up, and then I'm going to confirm the order. Now I'm going to go through here and create an account, and then we'll follow on from there. Okay, so I just paused that while I filled in all the details necessary to make a new account so that you didn't have to watch. Obviously, as with most online accounts, it requires a username, and I've just put in something that's memorable for me, but I would suggest that you simply use the name of your band. Password's required, and then I put in my name and this email address. Now, I'm only using this email address for the purposes of this video and training, and I don't check it, so if you're going to email me, don't use this address. Then I'm all done. Oh, actually, I'm just going to uncheck the Namecheap newsletter. You might wish to have that, but really it's not going to teach you anything once you bought a domain name and you simply don't need it, so I would recommend unchecking it. And we're just going to click Create Account and Continue. And then we're going to have the other details that Namecheap require us to fill in, and I'm just going to go and pause it again and do those, and then I will talk you through them. Okay, so you can see that I've now filled in my name, and this section here is all of my address details, which will probably blur out, and my phone number and my email address there at the bottom. This bottom piece here we're not going to bother with. You could enable two-factor authentication when logging into your domain account, but you're not going to need to do that in my opinion, so we're not going to bother with any of that. The only other thing here is I'm not registering it on behalf of a company because it's my personal one, but even if you did click that, you would see that you could put in the name of your band if you chose to do that, but I'm actually not going to bother, but you could do that if you chose to. So then I'm going to click Continue, and I'm expecting that the next page is going to just be my credit card details. Okay, so in fact what we get is all of the information for the WhoisGuard. So that's the stuff that hides my identity on the internet. So we'll have this blurred out a little bit, I'm afraid, but basically what you've got here in registrant contact and administrative contact and technical contact is just all the same information with me and my address and my telephone and contact details, so you can just check that. And then you've got your billing contact down here. Yes, you need to associate the WhoisGuard with the domain that you've just purchased. That means that they will apply the privacy of the WhoisGuard service to this domain that we're buying right now. And you can save the configuration for default checkout settings, but you're probably only going to be using this account to buy your domain name for your music anyway, so you don't need to worry about any of that. So, as I say, that's just a recap of your contact details. Then I'm press continue, and this time we will get the credit card details. So now I'm just going to fill in my credit card, and then we'll come back to this again in a second. Okay, so I just paused it there to fill in my card details. I'm not going to give you too much detail on how we do that. We're all used to doing that. All we really need to know, and I'm afraid I've blurred some of this out, is that it's using here the billing address that is the same address that I put in for the account. And here you could have used PayPal, as I said right at the start of this video, if you wanted to. The receipt will be sent to the same details, and this is the only really important bit here. This is the renewal setting, so I'm saying yes, use the credit card that I've entered to renew my domain registration and the WhoisGuard, the protection. Don't worry about this premium DNS, don't select that, that's just an extra function that you don't need. So I'm going to do that. It's then going to let me review the order. So again, I'm afraid I'm going to blur some of this out, but it's just saying here's your domain that you're buying, yourgreatband.com. In fact, look, I'm only paying $8.88 for that, so that's quite a bit cheaper than the $11 I thought, and that's for my first year. I'm getting my WhoisGuard. Then that will be blurred there. That's the payment details. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and just click Pay Now. And that's how easy it is to buy the domain for your band website. Great, so we've succeeded. We bought the domain. There's my details there again. Here's the proof of our domain that we bought. And in a little while, we're going to come back and we're going to go and manage the domain, which is where we point this domain name to the hosting that we're going to now go and buy. If you've bought your domain somewhere else, then you'll need to go and log into your domain provider and deal with the DNS, but we're going to show you exactly how to do that with Namecheap in a moment. But first, we're going to go back to the blog post and we're going to go and buy our hosting. Okay, so we're actually going to click through here. I just want to show you that you don't need to worry about the fact that they have other offers down here. And although they say WordPress hosting, and we've told you that you're going to be buying hosting for WordPress, you actually don't need to go through that route. So we're just going to click this. And we're going to see our options. Now, I am going to advise you to buy a Hatchling plan. As you'll see, that allows you to host a single domain, so a single website, and you're probably likely to only need a single website for your band. So that is going to be all you need. However, I'm going to buy the baby plan because I know that I'm going to build other sites on this hosting. We'll build various client sites for our artist clients and other sites that we might need. So I know it makes more sense for me to buy the next plan up because this allows unlimited number of sites to be built on it. You'll be absolutely fine with the Hatchling plan, at least to start off, because that will allow you to build your first site for your band, and then if you need to upgrade because you decide you need a different site or a second site at some point, you can do it at that point. But for me, I know I'm going to need it, so I'm going to go in here. Okay, so the first thing that we have to point out here is that I'm going to put in the domain that we've just bought, yourgreatband.com. Now, if you've bought your domain elsewhere and you haven't followed along with us, then you would click on this one and you'd enter your domain and you'd put it in there and it would offer up these options. But because we've already bought it, obviously that's unavailable. You can do it all here, but as we've said many times already, we recommend that you don't. So this is where we'll be, Your Great Band, we've got that. And then we're going to come down here. Oh, I forgot that HostGator does that. It wants to suggest that you buy various other variations of your domain name from them, but you don't need to do any of that, so we're just going to keep scrolling down. And then the next stage is to choose your plan. And you'll see that they price it here for 36 months. At $5.95 a month. But what that means is that they are going to charge you for the whole 36 months in one go. Most people will decide that they want to buy monthly. So that's what we're going to do here. And you'll notice that their 40% discount that they were offering has disappeared. However, don't worry, because we've got our 25% discount code, and sometimes by checking on our blog post, you'll find that we have other options available with other discounts. So because I want to make sure that I'm only going to pay on a monthly basis, I've selected that. Then all I've got to do is put in a username. I'm going to use the same thing as I used on Namecheap, just so that I know it's all together. I have to put in a security code, which will be used for when we need to contact support. And then I have to enter all the billing information. So I'm going to pause now while I do that again. Okay, so once again, I have filled in all of my contact details, my real name. For the company, I've put Your Great Band, just because I think most of you will probably put in the name of your band at that point, and then I've filled in my address details. Over here, I've filled in my payment details. I'm using a credit card, so the numbers will be blurred out, but you will see that you could use PayPal. Down here, you have the option of making the account individual, business or charity. Seeing as most of you are in a band, I think you can just leave it as individual and that will be fine. Then we scroll down and you will see that HostGator has pre-selected several of these options. Now, you don't have to take any of these. The backup here, which is billed monthly, you might find that you want to have, because that would make it easier. Should there be a problem with your site, you can get onto HostGator support and they should be able to get your site back from a backup of the site that they've automatically taken. I don't use that because we have another system in place, but you may find that that is worth having. However, note that it's going to be billed annually for $20 the moment you pick up your hosting account. And then up here again, this is something that I'm not going to select, so I'm going to switch that off. Again, you might find it's worth having, just under $3 a month. It's an extra level of security that protects your site from hackers. Again, I've never really felt the need for that, but you might choose to have it. And just a little aside, I know that when we get down to the bottom, they're going to automatically try and switch some of those back on, so it's a good idea just to double check when you've finished. Okay, then there's a coupon code here. Now, this is our current coupon code, and you can find that underneath the video on our website on the blog post for this piece of training. It's currently MIIM25, gives a 25% discount, but occasionally that will change if we're given a better deal by HostGator. If you enter this, whatever you pay for in the first payment will be reduced by 25%. And HostGator pay us a small commission if you use our coupon code or if you buy through clicking our link. But we're always looking to give you the very best deal that we can by discussing that with HostGator, and it doesn't cost you any more money to use our code. In fact, of course, it saves you money. Okay, so right down at the bottom, review the order details. We can see that that was going to cost us $11.95 a month because we're on the middle plan. The lower plan would be $10.95 a month, and then with the discount it would be just under $8 with the 25% discount. Because I'm in the EU, I have to pay tax, but you probably wouldn't have to, so you'd get that for $8.96, making our total spend under the $20 that we said you could build your whole site for. Okay, so I say that I've agreed to the terms and conditions. I just make sure that everything is right and that they haven't switched those additional costs back on, and I just hit checkout now. And we can see that the order's completed, and they say, great, we're setting up your account. I'm going to scroll down and see what that involves. Okay, so the order's completed, and HostGator are just welcoming us to the HostGator family. All you need to know about this is that this area is called the HostGator Customer Portal, and this is the area where you can deal with anything related to your account. You can also deal with your billing and, crucially, support should you have a problem with your website and your hosting down the line. This is not the area where you can actually do the next stages. For that, we need to get over to our email. So I'm going to go and open my email and see what I've received from both Namecheap and HostGator. Okay, so we can see that we've received 2 emails from Namecheap. This one just has the account details, and you'll want to keep that somewhere safe. The username, and hopefully we can remember our password, and you've already written that down. This one is just a summary of the order and just is effectively a receipt, so I'm not even going to look at that. And this one you will only have received if you signed up for the WhoisGuard, which we suggested that you do. So I'm going to open that one and deal with that one now. If you read this, it says that there's a legal obligation for them to verify that you have used a legitimate address to hide behind your WhoisGuard. And when you read this through, you'll see it just says you have to go and click this link to confirm. So I'm just going to do that quickly. And that's all there is to that. That was that one done. And then we get into the interesting stuff from HostGator. Now, it's quite important to realize that you're going to end up with 3 separate accounts for your hosting and website. This one is the one where we just were, the customer portal. This is the information that you need to log into your customer portal to deal with your billing or support. So you need to keep this one safe. This one is the back end of your actual hosting. So in a moment, we're going to log in to this area here. So again, this is absolutely crucial that you keep this safe, but it is completely separate from the one that we just looked at for your billing. And this email is simply an email from HostGator, which will send you via various links in the email where you can go and learn more about how to deal with your hosting and your WordPress. Now, we're actually going to show you most of this stuff, but you may find that useful down the line. So we're going to go back to this one, which is the crucial one for finally launching our site. This is where we log into the back end of our hosting. This is the name of my account. This is the name of the domain. And these are the next things we're going to deal with. These are called the name servers. And we're going to take these 2 pieces of information and we're going to go over to Namecheap, and we're going to use these to point our domain at Namecheap to our new hosting at HostGator. And you'll notice that this one is just 1 digit higher than that one, so I'm not going to need to copy them twice. So I've still got my Namecheap account open. So I've come back here, and all I need to do is scroll down to the domain registration, the management button here. So I'm going to click that. And because I only have 1 domain in this account, that's the only option I've got. So I just go along here and I click Manage again. And what you're looking for is this bit here that says name servers. That's what we've just copied from our HostGator email, first and second name server. Open that, click on Custom DNS, and in here we drop the piece that we've copied, which is the address of the first name server, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and then I'm just going to change that to 1 digit higher, which is what we remembered. Click Save. And that is done. Now, Namecheap will tell you that it may take up to 48 hours for your domain to be pointed to your hosting. However, It actually generally happens much quicker, and it may even be done in less than an hour, but they allow themselves 48 hours to do it. So the next thing we've got to do is go back to our email. I'm not going to worry about that message there. That's just saying don't change the name servers again. So I'm back at my email, and I'm going to log into the actual back end of the hosting where we can build your website. So we're going to click on that to go into the control panel. But just before I do that, I'm going to pick up the password because we're going to need that. And of course, you need to remember that your username is what you put in earlier, but it's all contained in this email. So click on that, put in my username and my password. And this is the cPanel area. It is the back end of your hosting. I'm going to have my computer remember that. And then this is where we now finally launch your website. Not going to worry about that. SSL is a piece of functionality you may need much further down the line, but you don't need it now. So what we're looking for is the WordPress installer. So we just click on that. Click here, and because we only have one domain associated with our hosting, and that's the one we put in when we bought our hosting, it's already going to be there for us. Then we can just click next. I'm just going to point out that there's a whole bunch of offers here where they will do this for you, but you simply won't need it. Now for the title of our blog, I'm going to give it the name of our band. I'm going to use myself as the user. And this is going to give us yet another set of passwords and login details, but those are going to be for the back end of our WordPress website itself, not the back end of the hosting. And then I have to click the Terms of Service Agreement and click Install Now. Okay, now here are the details that you're going to actually get these in a separate email, but these are the login details for the back end of your site. So let's go and see if that's there. It may well not be because it takes a while for the domain to point, but let's go and have a look. Okay, success. This tells us that the installation of the WordPress on your hosting is successful, and because we can see this and it's with our domain address up here, we can see that in fact that means that the DNS has propagated from Namecheap and our site is live. So what we're going to do now is I'm just very quickly going to make a copy of those access information that I found. I'm going to pick up the password because we're going to log in to your website. There's the password. Yeah, my username is Ian. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to copy this because you might forget this in the future. And this becomes a very important document. So that's the address that you go to log into the back end of your website. So my username is Ian. Yes, we're going to remember that. And here we are in the back end of your site. Okay, so HostGator will give you the option of clicking these two buttons, business or personal, but we're actually going to click I don't need help, and we're just going to get rid of that. That's an offer we don't need. So here we go. Leave the page. And here we are in your main WordPress dashboard for your website. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things. So at the moment, you'll see this line here says that you're currently displaying a coming soon page. And that was the sort of green and brown holding page that we saw when we just had connected our domain and put our website live. So at the moment, the outside world is seeing that. You, however, can toggle between your dashboard and what your website currently looks like. So as soon as you undo the Coming Soon page, this is how your website's going to look to everybody on the internet. But at the moment, only you can see this. So we're just going to do one or two quick things, and then we will let go of the Coming Soon page and make your website accessible. So it's live, but not yet accessible. So I'm going to flick back to the dashboard. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how to add a quick post. So at the start, you can have this element in your dashboard with these simple links, but moving forward, you'll add posts over here. So I'm going to click Add New. And I simply type in the title, Your Great Band Launch New Website. And we're going to type in a little bit of text for the post. Your great band have today launched their new website. I'm going to say a bit more, blah, 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 and then you could write whatever. We publish that. And we go back up to here to see what that looks like on the site. And there is your first blog post on your band website. Now I'm just going to show you something very quickly about how you can start to make your website look how you'd like it to. And the way that's done in WordPress is by doing some design work, but basically starting with something called a theme. If you come down here to Appearance, you'll see this button here, Themes. Now, WordPress has literally tens of thousands of themes which are designed by third-party companies, and they control the look and feel and the layout of your WordPress site. And at its most basic level, all you simply do is install a new theme, and that will completely change the look and feel of your website. There are lots that are designed for bands, and down the line we'll help you choose ones that are most suitable for promoting you and your music. But for now, because that version that is automatically installed when you build a new website is a bit boring, we're going to install the latest free theme that comes from WordPress. Now that's not on this page, so we have to go here and add new theme. And they've recently, just when we're recording this video, released this one here, which is called 2017. And it's a bit more interesting than some of their themes in the past. So we click Install. And then we click Activate. Now, I'll go back up to here so you can see your site. And look, already your site has miraculously changed. There's a big photo header that you could replace with a picture of your band. And here is your first post that you just did a minute ago. And that's how simple it is to control the basic elements of the design of your website. So I'm going to go back here, back into your dashboard. And I'm going to unlock the site. So once you are ready to launch your site, click here. Now the site is now open for anybody to see. And that's it. In literally 5 minutes or so, and for less than $20, you have built yourself a band website using WordPress. And from here on in, you can use it as the hub of all your activity, and you can learn the bits you need to enable you to design it and use it as the engine for your success. That's it for this video. Don't forget to go to the blog post and click on the links for Namecheap and HostGator when you're getting set up to buy your accounts. After that, I'm going to hand over to Steve, who's going to shoot another quick video to show you some of the basic steps how you can make this free WordPress theme look better and function more usefully for a band.